Alright, fine. I'll show you how to get here. I hope this is gonna be a short video. So you know how we sometimes can get stuck when we're doing things we're not supposed to be? Well, if we can still open the console, we can sometimes, keyword sometimes, force the game to reset and unlock itself. Here are some commands that can do that. UI state game forces the game to go into regular gameplay, resetting us without too much hassle and retains game state and values. Doing this in the main menu, however, breaks the game. This screen is pretty funny. We can tell that the game is trying to load the UI, but for one reason or another, there are no values to fill in our metabolism and health bars. There's also nothing telling the game not to load in the UI in the bottom right, which appears to be our quick slot items that are defaulted to morphine icons. I don't know why they weren't in the full release of Quarantine, because it'd be pretty useful to keep track of which items in which quick slot. Reminds me of the UI in Ocarina of Time. Load slow forces the game to teleport us to the indoor Stillwater map, retaining game state and values. This doesn't seem to do anything in the main menu, however. And the last one I'm gonna mention is Game Start Quarantine, which forces the game to start a new game, regardless of where we are or in what state. This obviously will reset everything, and sets the day to capital. With these commands, we can sometimes get out of a soft lock. Other times, they break things even more. This is one of those times. You know when we open an NPC's house when we're not supposed to? And it stalls in a loading screen because the map doesn't exist, but it plays the music for the area? Yeah, so for some reason, we can open the console during this loading screen. Good news is we're not completely stuck. We can press the escape menu. Bad news is the game's broken. If we start a new game, or press continue, or load a save, we load in and it's still in the white void out, but if we're quick enough, we can look up and notice a few NPCs flying away, and so go into camera fly, and here we are. Welcome. So obviously something happened during the loading, and the data for the map itself failed to load. But most of the game script is working, and all of the NPCs for the area are here. They just happen to be in their default animation. For a lot of NPCs, that means they're in T-pose, but Kerminsky's default animation is this pacing back and forth thing. This is actually what he's doing in that one trailer in the cathedral. But that's what's going on. Everything functions. The investigation mode functions. Talking to the NPCs also also functions. And we will also get the little fade out and load into the next area, which is the shabnak sequence. We will load into a void with nothing here. There's supposed to be a big head in front of us, but there isn't. But that's because we came into this area with camera fly still turned on, which retains our location data from our previous instance. Which, if you didn't know, the game treats the capital and all the maps in the capital as being in the center of town. So if we load into the shabnak sequence while we are in camera fly, we will start the sequence in the center of town in the far out of bounds void. Because as I've discussed in a previous video, the step train map is quite a ways south of town. As another quick tangent, when the shabnak is loaded in for this sequence, the game also loads in a reference shabnak out here in the center of town. Just kind of chilling here. She only spawns here once the shabnak is spawned in the game, not before. This is probably because they have a shabnak spawning in and out routinely through this sequence, and instead of having the game continually try and spawn a new NPC every single time, they just have one loaded in, hidden somewhere in the background, and repeat an instance of it to save on load times. Anyway, back on topic. This is what she looks like all chromed out. Very cool, totally not creepy. We sadly can't progress the story because we have to walk into the train car and out, which doesn't exist anymore. So to see the rest of the game in this way, we have to prepare some manual saves. But through the magic of me doing it 2 months ago, I happen to have a save game for every area of the game. Here's the theater hospital. Outside of the hospital, all the NPCs are on top of each other. The hindquarters are extra spooky with all the infected people standing around, including the dead man with the gun, but not the euthanasia guys. They're still on the ground. Skinner's is also kind of fun, as is Philip's house. The second time we're outside the theater, there's a bunch of bulls and herb brides. They're here, also stacked on each other. And here's Eva, Sticky, and Khan. If anyone from Icewick Lodge is watching this, I should mention that this is probably not something we need to bother fixing, because to get here we already have to break the game 5 different ways and use console commands and all that jazz. Like, I don't think anybody's expecting the game to work properly when we do all these things that it takes to get here. As for the next video, I don't know, man. I could do the NPC spawner, or the stuff that's in the item spawner, or the wild stuff that's in the UI state command. I don't know. Each one of them is a big can of worms, though, and none of them are gonna be short. Like, there's some unused assets, systems, and even spoilers in here. So let me know which one of them you might want to see next, and I don't know. I'll try and get to it.